Mr. Speaker, there are questions on the Public Safety Minister's recent recusals. Was the Ethics Commissioner consulted prior to the Public Safety Minister setting up an internal conflict screen? And can the Prime Minister explain to this House why the Minister has recused himself?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, in all national security decisions, my utmost concern is that of the safety of Canadians. I will support law enforcement and national security agencies who do their work impartially and effectively. In an abundance of caution and to ensure that there is no perception of any conflict, I've asked the public safety officials to implement a screen on national security issues relating to the Tamil community.
The Honourable Member for Kamloops, Thompson-Nicola.
Mr. Speaker, in British Columbia, an offender was recently sentenced to house arrest for possessing child sexual abuse and exploitation material. Mr. Speaker, the victims of such deplorable materials are living a psychological life sentence. Now, who do I blame for this? Not the judge, not the prosecutor, not the defense lawyer. I blame weak liberal laws that allow people like this to serve their sentence on the couch. Will this public safety minister recognize this injustice and stop allowing house arrest for people who watch sexual abuse of children?
The Honourable Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, let me condemn in the harshest possible terms sexual crimes committed against children. As a former prosecutor, I'm sure my honourable colleague would know that the law on the books today actually holds a mandatory minimum penalty of 1 year imprisonment for these types of heinous crimes. Mr. Speaker, I hope that this does not become a bipartisan issue. We want to work together to implement reforms not only to punish heinous crimes, but to prevent these harms from becoming a lifetime problem for vulnerable children.
The Honourable Member for Okanagan Lake West, South Kelowna.
Mr. Speaker, despite having world-class shipbuilders like Seaspan in Vancouver, BC Ferries has chosen a Chinese state-owned enterprise to build 4 new ships, even though the Prime Minister has declared China the biggest security threat to Canada. Meanwhile, the Liberals are providing BC Ferries with $36 million with no conditions to protect Canadian workers. Will the minister grow a spine of Canadian-manufactured steel and make Canadian jobs a requirement for this funding, or will she side with Premier Eby in selling out our ship and steel-building industries?
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Internal Trade.
Mr. Speaker, our government will always side with Canadian workers, particularly our steel and aluminum sectors that are being battered right now. I was disappointed and concerned when I learned of this procurement, particularly at this moment when Canadian workers need our support. BC Ferries is entirely under provincial jurisdiction. The support BC Ferries receives from Transport Canada is entirely for operations and there is no capital expenditure.
The Honourable Member for Cowichan, Malahat, Langford.
Mr. Speaker, what a great non-answer. Look, yesterday, the Minister of Transport refused to act on my concern over BC Ferries buying 4 ships from a Chinese state-owned shipyard and used the excuse that it was not a federal project, which was not the question that I asked. The Liberals should be supporting Canadian shipyards and our economy instead of supporting CCP-owned shipyards and their economy. So again, I ask, will the Liberals attach the obvious condition of buying Canadian-built ships in order for BC Ferries to get their over $30 million Liberal subsidy?
The Honourable Minister of Transport.
Mr. Speaker, I absolutely agree we need to be supporting Canadian shipbuilders. That's why we have a national shipbuilding strategy. I absolutely agree we need to be supporting Canadian steel and aluminum workers. And further, I agree that we need to be alive to national security challenges and bear those in mind when it comes to procurement. I have spoken to my BC counterpart about this issue, and I would underscore BC Ferries is entirely under provincial jurisdiction. I do not think any BC MPs would challenge federal support for operations of ferries.